For Durack.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I am very pleased to have the opportunity to speak today on this matter of public importance, especially on the day of the unveiling of the Turnbull Government's Defence White Paper, and this is indeed a hallmark day in Australia's defence history. What we know is that the Defence White Paper is more than just the Turnbull Government's delivering on an election promise. Indeed, it is much more than that. It will set out Australia's long-term plan to keep the country safe and secure. And needless to say, this is something which those opposite will never understand. They had many years to deliver, many years to understand what was needed, and they never did it. So that's probably the reason why they're very quiet today. But listen, I'm in a good mood today, and I do not want to get off to a bad start. And I want to tell you why I'm excited, and that's because my electorate is going to have a raft of improvements to infrastructure. And to my constituents, you need to know that you will be better looked after following the release of this Defence White Paper, and the northwest of Australia will never be better resourced. And this is why I'm excited, Deputy Speaker. The Royal Australian Air Force's Curtin Air Base in Derby and the Learmonth Air Base in Exmouth will be upgraded to support the RAAF's new strike and air combat capabilities, such as the new F-35A Lightning II Joint Strike Fighter and the KC-30A air-to-air refuelling aircraft. Now, Deputy Speaker, the upgrades to these investments are around $190 million to the RAAF Curtin Air Base by 2025, with an additional $30 million in the decade between 2025 and 2035. There'll also be an investment of around $190 million in improving the RAAF Learmonth Air Base, which is at Exmouth for those who are interested, up to 2025, and an additional $200 million in the decade between 2026 and 2035. Of course, Deputy Speaker, this is fantastic news for the communities of Derby and Exmouth, as these towns have been waiting for increased defence spending for longer than I care to recall. A fantastic investment. Derby Shire President Elsa Archer and Exmouth President Turk Shales are both, as you would imagine, over the moon and warmly welcome the news that I could personally share with them earlier today. The additional funding, Deputy Speaker, does not end there, with Exmouth, with the Harold E. Holt Communication Facility in the town to be upgraded to support very important enhanced space, situational awareness and communication capabilities, involving about $200 million in planned investment out to 2025 and a further $30 million by 2035. But as they say, wait, there's just a little bit more good news. Just north of Derby, at the Yampi Sound training area, there's a plan to undergo a redevelopment to that facility in the decade up to 2025, representing an investment of around $60 million, with a further planned reimbursement costing around $20 million in the decade from 2025 to 2035. Mr Deputy Speaker, this government's Defence White Paper will drive jobs and innovation in our country for many decades to come, just the same as the Industry Skills Fund is doing through the 4 grants allocated through my vast electorate of Durack. Science and innovation is the future of Australia and Australia jobs, and this is why I'm very proud of the Turnbull Government's record $9 billion on science and research. But we've heard a lot about what Labor would do, but what have they done when they were running the show? We know that when they were in office, they cut a massive $1.35 billion from their own policy, which was encouraging students to take up maths and science. Shame on you. That's right. Labor cut from their own policy $1.3 billion from their own maths and science education policy. Now, if we're talking more about education, this government is increasing funding to WA schools in West Australia, I'm talking about, from $619 million over the next 4 years, which is a massive 42% increase. I'm not quite sure what the other side are bleating on about. If I could just talk about youth allowance reform as well, which the legislation was passed late last year. We'll see more regional, rural and remote students who are able to further their education at a tertiary level. We are also providing a record $16 billion for universities, which has led to a record number of enrolments. This government is committed to science and innovation, and we know this because with an additional $1.1 billion over 4 years to support research, collaboration, incentivisation, innovation and entrepreneurship and reward risk-taking. This government is backing hard-working Australians, Deputy Speaker, creating a sustainable economy and funding at record levels science, research and education, together with a world-class defence force.